بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. It is coming up to that season where everybody will start to hear some talk about elections and voting, and you may start to hear some strange ideas and strange statements. People will start to say and speak about what the Muslim should do in the time of the election. And that's really our question that we want to answer today. What is the role of a Muslim during these elections? And in order to answer that, we need to know what are these elections about in reality, and what does Islam say about that reality in the Sharia, and so therefore what should we do? These are the three things we want to answer today. What are these elections? What does Islam say about it? And so therefore what should we do? So I heard in the masjid today during Jum'ah or before Jum'ah, alhamdulillah it wasn't the Imam, or I would not have prayed behind him, but somebody from the mosque committee, they made a little announcement. And subhanAllah, I thought, there's still another 3 months to go, but they're already starting now to prepare the people for the psyche of the voting. And I had to walk out. He started to say that voting is an amana. The voting is an aman, a trust. Okay? A trust to fulfill. Meaning something that you must guard and look after, and you mustn't let it down. You must not abandon it. And it started to say that we must be involved in political change, changing politically the society. And this is true, this statement is correct, we need to be involved. But what exactly is politics in Islam? And then he started to announce that they're hoping to invite some MPs to the masjid in the coming weeks to address and teach the Muslims, okay, in the masjid about how to become a counsellor. Okay. How to become a counsellor. So that leads to the question, really, is it allowed for us to bring MPs to the masjid? Okay. What happened to there's no politics in the mosque? What happens to the politics in the mosque will break your wudu? What happened to all of those stories? Now you bring the MP, the MEP, come and tell us about politics, about your kufr politics as well. Tell us all about your deen in the masjid of Allah. You bring if you want to invite a non-Muslim to the masjid, is to tell him about the deen of Islam. Not bring the Christian and the Jew and the Christian and the atheists and the MPs. Tell us about your deen so we can embrace it. Tell us how we can become kafir like you. That's not what the masjid is for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُ مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. He said the masajid, the mosques, they are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, exclusively. So don't call to somebody else instead of Allah in the masjid. Don't call to besides Allah anybody, especially in the house of Allah. In the house of Allah. So what are these elections that are coming up? Let's realize it. Okay, what are these elections that are coming up? First of all, an election itself is, as I will tell you, just to understand the reality, it is just a process of selecting or choosing or making a choice. Okay. That's all it is. It is a styles and a means, and somebody could say, look, in general the styles and means in Islam are permissible. This is true. Styles and means to fulfill a duty or fulfill an action is allowed, it's permissible. So the voting, and maybe I should use the board here. Okay. We want to know what are elections? Okay. So they are, to answer that question, it's a process for selecting or choosing something. Okay? Okay, that's simple. It's a process of choosing something. So obviously we know how they work. Everybody makes a choice. And the idea is that whatever the majority they say about that choice, we will accept and we will fulfill it, we'll implement it. And they will tell you, the Muslims, some Muslims will tell you that, well, look, the Prophet ﷺ, he made shura sometimes with the Muslims, and he made it binding upon himself that whatever the majority says, that he will accept it. And this is true. In some cases he did this, even if he disagreed. For example, in the Battle of Khandaq, the trench, he asked them, should we fight them in Medina or go out and meet them? And he went with the majority decision, even if he thought another option was better. So this is one example of that. So the idea of having a choice and going with the majority opinion is not by itself something which is haram or a sin. So that leads us to understanding, okay, if I want to explain to you how this falls in the Sharia, there are 3 types of elections, simply. Okay, we could make it more, but this is a classification for us to make it simple. Okay, there could be permissible, okay, elections, okay, or votes, okay, elections. Okay, for example, should we fight the kuffar in the city or outside? So you probably won't hear this one in the masjid. But should we fight the kuffar inside the city or outside of the city and go out to meet them in the fields, in the desert, or in their own cities maybe as well? That's the question. Or it could be, should we invade Persia or Rome first? Okay, or both? Okay, Umar, he chose the option, why not both of them? And he said an army this direction, an army that direction, he dealt with both of them at the same time. Fair enough. So you can have this type of election. Ask the shura among the Muslims, what do you think? Shall we conquer Rome, or should we conquer Bilad al-Faris first? Should we conquer the White House, or should we conquer the Green House? It's up to you. Okay, this type of election is permissible. Okay, other things, maybe something which is not so, even this you can argue is even rewardable to have this type of shura, has reward, not just permissible. But let's say, there are other things as well, things that we can more relate to, maybe, okay, employee of the month, let's say. You have a business, you want to vote for employee of the month. Fair enough, akhi. Permissible, is allowed. You can do that. Choose your favorite chocolate. Let's have a vote today. Brothers, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? You want to have pizza? You want to have Turkish kebab? Or you want to have chicken and chips? Up to you. Have a shura, have a vote. The majority wins. Okay, we'll go with whatever the majority wants. Fair enough. This is permissible. Okay, this is allowed. Then you have other types of elections which are haram. And it's really a simple equation. If you're choosing something permissible, it's a permissible election. If you're choosing something haram, it's a haram vote or election. It's haram to vote in the issue. So for example, should we drink whiskey or wine? Actually, there's no halal option. Forget about lesser of the two evils. Not about, okay, which one has less alcohol in it. It doesn't matter, they're both haram. Forget about lesser of the two evils. They're both evil. Why do you have to choose evil for? Choose this one, akhi. It's better for you, it's permissible. Why do you have to go for the wine or the whiskey for? Don't tell me beer or not beer or whatever. I was talking to one kafir who said, I used to ask him, do you drink alcohol? He said, no, I don't. I just drink beer. I thought, you know, to be honest with you, it's us. We're ignorant. We don't understand. Okay? For him, beer has really just a small amount of alcohol, not like the others that get drunk. Okay? For us, I don't understand the difference. The alcohol is alcohol. It's the same thing. But for him, he's thinking this is the lesser of the two evils. For me, you know, for him, he's thinking, well, look, you know, at least I don't get drunk and go out of my mind. I just had this little bit of beer. But for us, they're both alcohol. What's the difference? Oh, do you take drugs? No, I just smoke cannabis. Yeah, it's drugs. It's still haram. It's still intoxicants. Don't tell me lesser of the two evils. So, oh, at least I don't take coke. Yeah, it's still drugs. So, haram is haram. The lesser of the two evils is still evil. The lesser of the two haram is still haram. Okay, we don't have this idea or this choice. Also, there's a hadith even, you see. There's a hadith about the one who's given a choice between three. Okay, the choice of zina or alcohol or murder. Okay? This hadith, Imam Nawawi reported and he commented on it. He said a man was given a choice between three. He can either commit zina or drink alcohol or commit murder. So he took what he thought was the lesser of the three evils. So he said, I drink alcohol. He drank the alcohol and became drunk. While he was drunk, he went with a woman, committed zina. And while they were committing zina, the baby was crying, and so he murdered the baby. All because he's drunk. Imam Nawawi said his mistake was, he took one of the choices. Why did he take a choice for? He should have left all of them. That was the lesser of option. That was the best option. Is you leave the zina, leave the alcohol, leave the murder, don't do any of them. Why is everybody intent? You say, Akhi, look, voting is an amana, we have to choose one of them, so we have to choose the lesser of the two. Why have to choose any of them for? Why not remove all of them? Remove the whole parliament and establish Islam. No, you become Khawarij. Suddenly become Khilafah is the only option. You know, I was watching a video, the brother was saying, okay, this man, subhanAllah, anyway, I'm going to leave that inshallah for later. Okay, so these are options inshallah. Zina, alcohol, murder, this type of election or voting or choice is completely haram. You can't make these choices. Okay, the option of, okay, shall we, let's see, okay.
There's sweets going around.
Okay, mashallah, alhamdulillah. See, this is a halal election. You know, which one do you like? No. You know, which one do you want? You know, you can choose any. What was your favorite sweet? You know, favorite sweet of the month or sweet of the year. This is halal. It's permissible. But if they start to bring us, you know, some pork or some unslaughtered meat, dead meat, stunned meat. Okay, they say to you, what's the better option? Stunned meat, okay, or pork? Okay, just leave both of them. Have some vegetables. You know, it's fine. Vegetables halal. The others are not halal. So yeah, so let's check this on this. Stunned meat. Because people have this idea. Why you make life so difficult for me? Okay, just because it's stunned meat, why can't I eat it? Because it's haram. You know, stunned meat, okay, or dead meat. Okay, both of them haram. Then you have, and I need a different color for this one just to highlight it inshallah. Kufr or shirk elections. Okay. For example, you want to choose, shall we worship Allah or Shaitan? Okay? If you want to make an election about this, you're committing shirk in Allah. Who told you you have a choice? Who told you in the first place you had a choice who you worship, Allah or the Shaitan? Okay? You want to ask another question? Shall we obey Iblis or Fir'aun? Okay? Both of them are shirk. Both of them kufr. Allah Ta'ala said, وَإِنْ أَطَعْتُمُوهُمْ إِنَّكُمْ لَمُشْرِكُونَ. If you obey them, you're mushrikeen. So how can you take one of these options? You want to say now, is Labour our Lord or is conservative? Okay, and why do I say Lord? Lord, why? Because Allah Ta'ala declared the one who legislates laws, that is your Lord. اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله. They took their rabbis and priests as lords instead of Allah. Why? Because they made haram halal and halal haram. And what do you think the MPs do? What do you think the MPs do in the parliament? They sit there debating according to their own desires and their own opinions. What should be halal, what should be haram, what should be legal, what should be illegal. That is the job of the MPs. So the idea that we can make man a legislator instead of Allah, that is shirk in the first place. We don't involve in that shirk. Okay? And somebody could say, well, what about the maslahah, the benefit? Okay? What about the benefit in voting for these, the lesser of the two evil MPs? I say there's no such thing as maslahah in shirk. It's impossible. Ibn Taymiyyah said, الشرك والظلم والقول على الله بغير علم والفواحش ما ظهر منه وما بطن. He said, لا يكون فيها شيء من المصلحة. He said, the shirk and the oppression and speaking about Allah without knowledge and the unlawful sexual acts, hidden and apparent, there is no way for there to be any maslahah in them whatsoever. No way for there to be maslahah in that, any benefit in it whatsoever. No way. It's something been prohibited in every sharia of every nabi, in every time, in every era. And Allah Ta'ala does not forbid a thing while there's benefit in it. The sharia is perfect and complete. If there is benefit to be found and the sharia does not command to it, that means the sharia is imperfect, and the sharia is not imperfect. The sharia is perfect. It's our aqeedah. If you think the sharia missed something and there's benefit to be found by disobeying Allah, there's something wrong with your aqeedah. Something seriously wrong with your aqeedah. Okay? So this is what we need to understand. So we need to understand, what is this shirk? What is this kufr? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is al-hakam al-adl. He is al-musharri', the legislator, the commander. He is al-amir. He is al-mukallif, the one who makes you accountable and responsible. Nobody else can do that. That belongs to Allah exclusively. That is His part of His right, is haqq, as the Lord. أَلَا لَهُ الْخَلْقُ وَالْأَمْرُ. Allah says, is it not for Allah the creation and the command? They go hand in hand. Unless you created, you don't have the right to command. And nobody shares with Allah in His creation at all. So Allah is the creator, we are the creation. Allah is al-ma'bud, the one who is worshipped, and we are al-ibad, the ones who worship Him. Allah, He is al-muta', we are al-muti'. Allah is the one who is obeyed, and we are the ones who obey Him. He is al-hakam, He is the one who rules and legislates, and we are the ones who obey and we seek judgment from Him. That's what we need to understand, our relationship between us and Allah. When you start to give that relationship to man, or you start to choose, decide, should we or shouldn't we? Do we have a choice in the matter at all in the first place? That's when we start to disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ahzab, verse 36, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَن يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. He said, it's not correct for any believing man or woman, okay, believing man or believing woman, when Allah and His Messenger have already decided a matter, that they should have any choice in the matter at all. Okay, what choice exactly? Like you're asking somebody shura. Like imagine you ask istikhara to Allah. Oh Allah, should I obey you or not? What do you mean by should I? It's not allowed to make this istikhara. Not every istikhara is allowed. Not every shura is allowed. Not every advice is allowed. Not every question is allowed. He goes to his mufti and says, Shaykh, can you give me a fatwa? I want to commit zina. Is that allowed? No. It's not allowed for him to ask that question. No necessity in Islam in the first place. He doesn't have a choice in that matter. You can't, appoint somebody to change that hukum or to change that role in the first place. So now we understand there are different types of elections. What type of election do the elections in May this year coming up fall under? Okay, what exactly are we voting for? Okay, I'm going to use this other board, as we have, alhamdulillah. Allah bless us with many whiteboards. we need to understand what is a democratic election. Okay, we need to understand this clearly and absolutely precisely. Okay, because people will try to make shubahat for you, might try to make special arguments for you. They say, look, akhi, just because we are choosing one of them doesn't mean we believe in their own deen, or agree with everything they say, doesn't mean we believe in all of their policies and so on. They'll say to you that elections, they're like a shura, they're like consultation. They say elections, they are just like appointing a khalifa, the way the Sahaba they gathered to appoint Abu Bakr as-Siddiq as a khalifa. So the question is, are we choosing a leader? Are we choosing, advice, shura or consultation? Are we choosing an enemy to fight against? What are we exactly choosing? What are these elections about? Okay, democracy is built on certain principles and is a Western term. Okay, we don't add our own definitions to it. We can't assign our own meaning to it. Like somebody wants to say that actually Christianity is Islam, essentially. What do you mean Christianity is Islam exactly? This is their deen, let them define it for you. They say, no, they're all Muslims. They just don't know it yet. No, they're all Muslims. No, you meet some people like this, they really think, no, actually they believe in God, so therefore they're all Muslims. Okay? The Christians have their own belief. And Allah declared those who share their belief what they are. So the Christians say, no, Christianity is to say Jesus is God. The Christianity is to say that God is the third in the Trinity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about them what? He said what? لَقَدْ كَفْرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ. He said they are disbelieved those who say Allah is Jesus son of Mary. He said لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ ثَالِثُ الثَّلَاثَةِ. That they are disbelievers those who say Allah is the third in the Trinity. Simple for you. But he said, no, you can't call them kafir, akhi. It's not correct. Allah said they're kafir. He said, no, but it's a dirty word, akhi. It's haram. Don't say that. Astaghfirullah. You can't have this change in the terminology. You want to change the Sharia term, put your own term. And change even the terms of the kuffar, and you put your own meaning to it. They're saying, we worship the idols. No, you worship Allah. No. They worship idols, they said it themselves. So democracy is their deen. They tell us what their deen is, and we tell them what the hukum is, based upon the Quran and Sunnah. So democracy is a term that comes from the Greek. Because the Greeks are the first ones, who invented the, democracy. They're the ones who first started it. And it comes from the words demos and kratos. These two together. Demos meaning the people, kratos meaning the laws, meaning the law for the people. Democracy is the law of the people for the people by the people. That is their aqeedah, that's what they believe. Okay, that is exactly what they believe. So how do you have laws of the people, for the people, by the people? How do you establish that? How can the people make the laws? So they say, look, if you want to have 60, now how many people? They've got 70 now, isn't it? Okay, it's all those Muslims immigrating, you see. 70 million people in the UK. Okay, you've got 70 million people in the UK. How are you going to get 70 million people together in one room to debate a law and decide what we're going to do? Okay, you can't do it. It's impossible. It's impossible, especially every single issue they want to debate. How they're going to get 70 million people? Even if one of them talks, the rest of them can't even hear him. It's impossible. So you can't have 70 million people making laws together. So how are you going to have the law of the people, for the people, by the people? So they said, what we'll do is, we'll divide that up into constituents. Okay, and from each one, the people will appoint one MP to represent them. Okay, there's probably a couple of them got women as well, isn't it? Okay. 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 So they all appoint, for each area, one person for each constituency. Okay, for each constituency, Okay, one person to represent the rest of them, because it's still by the people. How? We all in one room say, you know, brother, the brother with the longest beard, mashallah, he will represent us here in so-and-so house, and he will go and speak on behalf of all of us. Okay, it's called al-wikala. Okay, it's called al-wikala. We will have a wakil. Let's get a different color. Okay, so they will choose a wakil. Okay, in fact the word, okay, or you can say naib. Okay, it's the same thing. They mean the same thing. Is your representative. In fact, the word in Arabic for an MP, you know what it is? Is naib. Okay? Your representative. He represents you. Your appointed person. So just like when Ja'far, he spoke to Najashi, the Muslims in Abyssinia, they said, he will speak on behalf of all of us. So he went forward and spoke on behalf of all of them. Okay, your representative, they go and they negotiate and they speak and they represent whatever the people behind him, they are saying, he represents them. So this is what they say. So those 70 million, they need to choose among them just a few people, maybe a couple of hundred, 200, 300 for the whole country to represent all 70 million. And they sit in a house called Parliament. Okay, they go to a house called Parliament, okay, which is one big satanic building in the UK. Have you ever seen it? You know, full of these idols and statues of devils and all this kind of crazy gargoyles. It's madness. Okay, so they have this big building, okay, with all these spires or whatever, okay, and it's called Parliament. Okay, and they will go there and they will decide what the laws will be for the people. Okay, what laws will be for the people. So they will decide laws and legislate. Okay? And don't be confused at all about this. That is what the MP does. They legislate laws in parliaments. Go to the Parliament's website. Okay, go to Parliament's website. Okay, they don't go there to learn tajweed or to make tafsir of the Quran. They go there to legislate laws. Go to Parliament's website officially. The first thing you'll see when they say about us, what is Parliament? Parliament is a house of legislation. It's a verbatim quote from their website. How Parliament is a house of legislation. And what is an MP? What is his job role? They don't clean streets and they don't, drive taxis. They are legislators. That is their job. It is the only job role they have. Is they are legislators. Okay, they don't walk the beat with the police. They're not police officers. They're not, they don't even, decide. People, they always ask you, what about traffic laws? What about the speed limit? How you gonna? MPs don't decide the speed limit either. They don't go to your local road and put up a 40 mile per hour sign. That's not their job. Their job is to make laws in parliaments. They make the legislation which the rest of the country will then be governed by, be ruled by. Okay, so that's what elections are, the democratic elections. That's what the elections in May are. You are choosing, okay, you are choosing somebody as a wakil, as a naib, a representative. Representative. Okay, somebody to represent you in parliament. Meaning, you're going to say to a man, look, I want you to go on behalf of me and go to that house of parliament and make laws on my behalf. Meaning it's me making the laws by you going there. That's what it means. Okay, al-wikala, representation, that is the principle of it, is that the wakil, he acts on behalf of the asil, the original person. If I appoint somebody, okay, when a woman appoints her father as a wakil in the wedding contract, she is giving him authority to act on behalf of her. She's the only one that can marry herself, but she gives that authority to her representative. So when the father then says that, I've married my daughter to you, that means she is doing so. That means it's binding upon her. Because she's appointed him as a wakil, as a representative. If you appoint somebody in your shop, you're an employee, go and sell my car and my phone and so on, okay, to the customers. What right does he have to sell your car? Who the hell is he to sell your phone, your products? You made him your representative. That means when he acts on your behalf, he has the authority to sell your car and you become liable. You have to give the car. After that, because you appointed him, after that you must give the car. because you made him your representative. And the same thing, if you appoint somebody to do a sin or a crime, well, you think you're not going to be accountable? You think, okay, look, it's haram for me to sell or buy alcohol. Okay, so let me hire somebody, he'll sell alcohol for me. Yeah, you're still selling alcohol, you're still sinful. Okay, or say, look, I can't buy drugs because it's haram. So let me appoint somebody, you go and buy drugs for me and then bring it back to me. Here's £10. Akhi, you are sinful. You're sinful. You're sinful just like him. And if you say to somebody, you go, I'll give you £15,000. This is the going rate apparently, from what I learned in prison. Okay, go and murder so and so. I'll give you £15,000. Okay. If the person goes and murders him, what, you think you're not a murderer? You think you won't have punishment, capital punishment? When they catch you, you say, no, it wasn't me. He's the one who did it. What, you think you're not accountable? In every law, even man-made laws, they will say, no, you're just as bad as him. You're both murderers. That's what they will say. And the Sharia as well. The wakil is not the only one. The one he represents, he's liable. So if you tell somebody, go and murder somebody on my behalf, and then he murders him, you're a murderer and you'll be punished. Okay? And if you say to somebody, go and make sujood to an idol on my behalf, in my name, what, you think you're not mushrik? You think just the one who made sujood is mushrik? You're mushrik as well. And the same thing, if you say to the wakil, the MP, go to the house of shirk, this temple called the parliament, and I want you to make laws on my behalf. We are the legislators, not Allah. You and your MP are both mushrik together. This is shirk in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what exactly does Allah say about this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the complete opposite to this. Allah says that this is wrong. Okay, Allah teaches us that this whole idea is wrong. Why? Because the law belongs to Allah. We say law is for Allah alone. Okay, the law is for Allah alone. In al-hukmu illa lillah, amra la ta'budu illa iyyah. He said the law is only for Allah in Surah Yusuf verse 40. He said the law is only for Allah. The legislation is only for Allah. In Surah Kahf verse 26, Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَا يُشْرِكُ فِي حُكْمِهِ أَحَدًا. He said he does not associate any partners with him in his hukum, in his legislation, anybody. And if you look to the other qira'ah as well, the qira'ah of Ibn Amir of the same verse, Surah Kahf, he said, وَلَا تُشْرِكْ فِي حُكْمِهِ أَحَدًا. Do not associate partners with Allah in his legislation. It's not up to us. Not up to us at all. Even Allah Ta'ala said, أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء شَرَعُوا لَهُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا لَمْ يَأْذَنْ بِهِ اللَّهُ. He said, do they have partners with Allah that legislate for them a way of life without permission from Allah? Allah Ta'ala declared the one who takes partners, who chooses a legislator, they are committing shirk in Allah, taking partners with Allah. Because that's not for man, that is for Allah. So this idea, this whole idea, and this entire action, it is contrary, opposite to the basic foundation of Tawheed, the basic foundation of Islam. That's what makes us Muslim. We say, La ilaha illallah. We say there is none worthy to be worshipped, obeyed or followed except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the basic foundation of Islam. And then you want to say to me, no, it's okay, we can worship other than Allah. We can choose legislators instead of Allah. Yeah, why not? What's the big deal? This is the deen of the kuffar. This is the ibadah. This is the worship of the kuffar. This is their own festival that's coming up this election. Like their own Christmas, like their own Easter. Is their own festival. Okay, the same way we don't wear Father Christmas hat and come out saying Merry Christmas. We don't go out in the election times carrying the ballot box or carrying, voting, putting a paper in the ballot box, imitating the mushrikeen. The least of it is imitating the kuffar. The worst of it, you become mushrik just like them. Okay, you become mushrik just like them. So, what we need to understand. Some people, they never really understood what shirk is. Okay, some people, they think the shirk is only, to worship the graves, make dua to the graves. And I like Shaykh Joshimuddin, may Allah release him from his captivity. He said, look, we studied in the Salafis, we came out of all of this, this Jahiliyyah, and we learnt and studied about the shirk of the poor people. Okay, we learn about the shirk of the poor people. All those poor people in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in India, they go into the graves and they're all worshipping the graves, making dua to the graves. So it's about time we learnt about the shirk of the VIPs. Those very important MPs and the very important presidents and prime ministers, they have shirk as well. We need to forbid them as well. We can't just pick on the poor people and say, look, all of you're all mushrikeen. Why? Because you go to the graves. What about all those mushrikeen going to the parliaments? What about all those mushrikeen going to United Nations? What about all those mushrikeen going to the ballot box in the elections? Well, you don't need to forbid that one. You only need to forbid the other one because it's easier for you. Because the poor people are not going to fight back. They're not going to arrest you, are they? The MP and the Prime Minister, they're going to arrest you. You don't suddenly run away. What happened to all that bravery? What happened to all that bravery? When people they talk about the shirk, they know, yes, if we want to fight against the shirk, we want to confront the shirk, we have to have patience and sabr because they will attack us. They will have impact upon us. But suddenly when it comes to the real crunch time, you see some people, they shy away. You know, even the Madkhalis, they say the democracy is shirk. They say so. It's shirk. But what happened to actually forbidding that shirk and avoiding the shirk? Suddenly, they say to you now that shirk is permissible for you, it's become wajib upon you. In fact, the one who doesn't do that shirk, he betrayed Allah and His Messenger, he betrayed the amana. It's become insane what people are doing. So, shirk could be many things for us to understand, inshallah. Shirk is for the creation to worship, follow or obey another creation. This is one way of defining for us the shirk. Whenever the creation worships, follows or obeys another creation, okay, that is the shirk. Because the only one we worship and follow and obey is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another way of defining the shirk we could say is to offer any of the ritual acts of ibadah, ritual acts of worship to other than Allah. This is shirk. Whether that was dua, or it was slaughtering in the name of other than Allah, or it was sujood in front of the idol, or in front of the queen, or in front of whoever, or it could be as well tahakum. Seeking the judgment and the laws from other than Allah is shirk. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said in Majmu' al-Fatawa, he said, at-tahakum is ibadah from the ibadat. It is worship from the ritual acts of worship. And whoever associates with Allah in his arbitration, he is mushrik. Because Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Nisa verse 60, He said, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ يَزْعُمُونَ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ وَقَدْ أُمِرُوا أَن يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ. He said, have you seen those who falsely claim to believe in what was revealed to you and what was revealed before you? And yet they seek judgments from other than Allah. They want to seek judgments from other than Allah when they were ordered to reject it. They were ordered to disbelieve in it. So we need to understand that this is a form of shirk as well. Okay? It is shirk as well. When we start to take the laws from other than Allah. We establish, legislators instead of Allah. And I can see obviously you brothers are very tired, it's very late, so I'm not going to go too long. There's a lot we could talk about it, but we'll try to summarize inshallah and keep it brief. So maybe we'll come back for the shubuhat and misconceptions another day, another session inshallah. But just very quickly on this topic of tahakum, and we want to summarize it very quickly for you. Do we have a rubber? Yes. I'm going to rub out my artwork first, inshallah. Okay. One thing we need to understand. Okay. There are three types of authority. Okay, three types of authority. Okay, as-sulta. Okay, so the three types of authority they are: number one, legislative authority. Okay, this is called sulta tashri'iyya. Okay, This is number one. And you have as well سلطة تنفيذية. Okay, executive authority. And you have number three, سلطة قضائية. Judicial authority. Okay? Okay? And the way it works in a democracy, okay, let's do this in two colors. Okay? So we have democracy in red, because a bunch of kuffar, and you have, you know, what you have in Islam, the green. Not because we are Brelvi or anything like this, just because, you know, that's the other color, different color. So according to democracy, the legislative authority is parliament. Okay? MPs, MEPs, etc. Okay? House of Lords. Okay? Okay, even they even called themselves lords as well, just to give you a clue. If you did, you know, if you couldn't figure it out already. Okay? So the parliaments, they are the legislative authority. They decide what is the law. Okay? And then you have the executive authority. That is the Prime Minister. Okay. Okay, or you might have presidents in some countries. The ministers, mayors, councillors. I mean, all of those people that will actually make policies and decisions and implement whatever Parliament says. So there's a link between this. Okay? Whatever the Parliament says, these executive authorities, they're the ones who actually have to execute it and administer it. They have the administration. They have no choice except to implement what the law says, what the Parliament says. The Prime Minister can't just make up his own laws whenever he likes. Okay, that's not how it works in democracy. Okay, or even in, you know, in many other, you know, so types of government. So prime ministers, presidents, ministers, the mayors don't go into authority and they just say, okay, look, I'll do what I want. You know, you may think that Lutf al-Rahman in Tawa al-Hamlas is implementing Sharia. He's not. He's implementing what Parliament says. He's implementing man-made laws. Okay, don't be confused by his name. Okay, I know the EDL probably think he is. They think he's, you know, he's implementing Sharia, he's laid down the Iraqi laws, they say, you know, in London. No, you know, he implements the parliamentary law. Whatever the law in Parliament says, they implement it here. Okay, they're the ones who implement whatever Parliament says. And if the Parliament changes its mind, they have to change their mind, because they take their laws from Parliament. They don't take it from themselves. They don't decide it themselves. Okay, so these are the executive authorities. And then you have the judicial authorities. They are the courts, you know, the judges, okay, the magistrates and so on. All of them, crown courts, all of them, they do the same job. Their job is to remove disputes. When the people, they dispute over each other, with each other, okay, they go to the court, and the courts, what do you think? They just make up the ruling as they go along? No, they have to take whatever the Parliament says. So they must judge by the law of Parliament. So this is the real authority, the legislative authority. That is the one who makes the laws. And the courts judge by those laws. And even sometimes the judge will say, look, I disagree with it, but that's what the law says. And that's how, and they have to judge with it, judge by it. They have no choice. And then when somebody appeals, they go to the House of Lords to change the law, so then they can overturn the court's decision. Why? Because the judge can't go outside the laws. When they want to sentence you, they go by whatever the law says, he can sentence you. Minimum, maximum, set by the law. They don't have any other choice besides that. Okay? So that's how the authority works, these three types of authority. Okay? So in a democracy, the people make the laws and the people implement the laws of the people. Okay? So the laws of the people, by the people, for the people. It will be all three of them. In the Sharia, in Islam, the legislative authority is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, exclusively. There's no way for anybody to make laws except for Allah. No way for you to make laws except for Allah. Only Allah makes laws. And the people who have the executive authority, they are who? Is the Khalifa, his governors, the walis. Okay, you can have the emirs of whether of jihad or any other executive authority, whoever they are, amil, whatever position they have in the state, they will implement only the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, وَأَنِحْكُمْ بَيْنِهُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. Rule and judge by whatever Allah revealed, and don't follow their desires. Allah left no room for you to say we will follow different laws, only the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He said, be careful of them in case they divert you from even some of what Allah revealed. Don't leave any part of what Allah revealed for the people. So you have only one choice, to rule by what Allah revealed. You take Allah as a legislator. Okay? The whole concept of democracy is shirk from its roots. Because He said, no, there is no Allah involved in legislation. As far as democracy is concerned, Allah has got nothing to do with it. It's only the people. They want to say that not any hukm illa lillah, that there's no, the right legislation is only for Allah. This is no, the right to legislation is only for what? For ash-sha'b and nas, for the people. That's what they believe. Whereas in Islam is opposite. And in the Sharia we have as well courts. And we have judges. Okay, whether it is judges of the normal courts or of al-madhalim or the hisbah, whatever it is, you know, all of them, they are judges that will judge in their courts to remove the disputes of the people according to what Allah revealed alone. Okay, so there's a difference between democracy and Islam and Khilafah system. So what are we choosing and selecting in these elections? Because people will say we have elections for a Khalifa. It's allowed to have an election for a Khalifa because this is Sulta Tanfidiyya. Human beings can have this type of authority. Okay, you can even have a little vote if you wanted to, really, for a judicial authority, for a judge, but that's not really how it's done. The Khalifa appoints it and that's it, finished. Okay, but yes, these are human positions. Human beings are allowed to be, judges are allowed to be, you know, in authority, executive authority, as long as they rule by whatever Allah revealed or judge by whatever Allah revealed. But this, it is the role of the Creator. That belongs to the Creator. Okay, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What these two are doing by going to the laws of this authority is worship. Okay, so they are worshipping. Okay, when you judge by this law, you are worshipping the one who made that law. When you rule by this law, you are worshipping the one who made these laws. That is ibadah. That is the worship. That is the tawheed. So the Muslim, we understand, this is the Lord, the Creator, and these are the creation, the worshippers. So when the democratic elections coming up in May, they are saying to you, let's choose the Lord for us to worship. Let's choose the Lord for us to legislate the laws for us, for our society. They're saying to you, choose your Rabb. Who is your Rabb that you want? Do you want your Rabb to be Labour MP or Conservative MP or Liberal Democrats MP or Respect MP or whoever? Whatever, it doesn't make any difference to us. Okay? It doesn't make any difference to us. What they're basically saying to you is, no, if you worship me, I'll give you a mosque. And he's saying to you, if you worship me, I'll give you 2 mosques. And the other one saying, if you worship me, I will still fight against the Muslims in Iraq. So they say to you, Akhi, which ones are lesser of the 2 evils? They are all shirk. They are all tawaghit. They are all shaitan. Okay? And I'll just finish this talk inshallah with one analogy for you. One simple analogy. Sometimes, you know, the people, they understand matters when it's brought back to their own fitrah. So they can understand it easier. You know, and I used this example before, and I'm sorry for that I have to give this example, but sometimes you can only use the example that will have impact on the people. Imagine we were, you know, living in a time and a strange place with the strange way of life around us in Darul Harb and Darul Kufr, okay, where the community is ruled by gangs, okay, bunch of gangsters, and they're all pimps and drug dealers, okay, and you have the red gang, and you have the blue gang, and you have the yellow gang. It's not too far, from reality. There probably is a red gang and a blue gang, but this one in particular, a red gang and a blue gang and a yellow gang, okay, and every 5 years, what they did in order to stop all the bloodshed, because there used to be fighting and war between these gangs, so they said, look, instead of having all this bloodshed, what we'll do is every 5 years we'll allow the people to choose which gang could be in charge of the drugs and the prostitutes in the area, okay, and then nobody will fight, everybody will just accept and obey them. So all the gangs agreed. So they went door to door, and they asked everybody in the community, which gang do you want to, deal the drugs in the area and to pimp all the girls in the area? What do you think? Red, blue, or yellow? And along came, one, very, what can you say, westernized Muslim, mashallah, moderate chocolate Muslim. He wanted to join one of the gangs, and he started knocking on the doors, and he said, look, I'm Muslim, I've started my own new green gang, okay, we wear turbans when we deal out drugs, okay, and say, look, we want to come to you, we offer you a better way. Look, I promise to you that if you vote for us, make us in charge of the drugs and the prostitutes, then we will never hire any Muslim girl, and we will never deal drugs to any Muslim, and we'll take it all away from the Muslim areas, away from the mosque, and we'll go and deal drugs to the kuffar only. What do you think? Will you vote for us? Is there anybody that would dare give you the fatwa and say, yeah, choose the Muslim, tell him, you go and deal drugs, mashallah, brother? Do you think they're going to give you that fatwa? You think that's allowed? You think anybody with any common sense will say to you, no. What you do is, you remove all of those gangs and say, nobody's going to dare deal drugs in our area. Because we have, mashallah, Muslim patrols, they're going to remove all of you. That's what you want to do. Okay, that's what you want to do. And the strange thing, people make all the excuses for the shirk. And they say necessity, but we have no choice, and the haram becomes halal because of necessity, and because of the lesser of the two evils, and because of the maslahah, and because of all these problems, therefore it becomes halal. Okay? The only thing that doesn't become halal is the jihad. Why is the jihad not halal? They said to you, this is the only way that we can have a say in politics, the say in authority, and to remove the evil of those kuffar, those really bad, evil kuffar. Okay. Well, the mujahideen, they did something, to remove that evil of those authorities as well. They took charge and declared khilafah. What was wrong with that? What was wrong with that? They said, no, it's khuruj, it's haram. Even if you say it's haram, I thought you said necessity makes haram halal. I thought you said all of that maslahah makes even the haram and the shirk and the kufr halal. Why not the jihad? Jihad was never haram in the first place. Okay. This man, the Sheikh Haytham Haddad, he said in the video that they were doing something wrong by revolting against their leaders, their rulers. Talking about Dawla. Which rulers exactly were they revolting against? Bashar Assad? Nur or Nuri al-Maliki? Which one of them was Muslim in the first place? Both of them Kafir Asli. This one Nusayri, this one Rafidi. You say to me there's no one supposed to rise against those rulers? Even though you say to me is allowed to vote for some mushrik, Jew or Christian, in order to remove the harm of another Jew or Christian, but they're not allowed to take authority by jihad and remove all of their harm of the Nusayri and the Rafidi by establishing Islam, not establishing some lesser kufr, no, establishing Islam. You say to me that's haram, and that's baghi, and that's khuruj, and they become deviant, they become sinners, and you're not allowed to support them, not allowed to help them, and you're obliged to fight them. Is that what you're saying to me? Some complete, back to front fiqh. Complete back to front, upside down, and they think it is Sirat al-Mustaqim. It's not. It is misguidance.
The whole idea of compromise with Islam, commit the kufr, commit the shirk, adopt and imitate the mushrikeen in their own deen, in their own religion, in their own kufr, in order to get a little bit of maslahah, that is hypocrisy, is being two-faced, and it is compromising the deen of Allah, and it's complete bid'ah as a minimum, and deviation and misguidance, and kufr as well in the highest regard. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.